if there's an impulse of life to explore this, it will. And it might unfold along the way where it sees its own story a little bit differently. And its own story is always complete and whole. And, you know, every human being has experienced the peaceful fullness, the peaceful nature of itself. Every human being, no matter how identified, at some point has had that moment where they just go, oh, it was just so nice. I don't know what happened. So nice, relaxing. Some people will be jumping out of an aeroplane or skiing down a mountain on a snowboard, and then there's just that flow moment where there's no thought. It's like, oh, that was just what it was. That was just complete. It was just beautiful, perfect. And other people, it'll be sitting deep in meditation, having not moved for 2 weeks, and then there'll be that complete flow state, the peaceful nature. Or other people, it'll be walking or in the shower. And there's those moments. So all human beings experience those moments of themselves, of itself, life. And then the story gets added on.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily wrong. It's not wrong at all. Nothing's wrong. It can only be wrong to an identified self that says, I don't like it like that. It shouldn't be that way. Resistance is suffering. The separate self is just resistance to what is as it is. There is always continuity. And that continuity is just not necessarily a separate self, but there is a continuity in life, in, you know, genetic expression and material expression. So karma in that way can seem to follow, can seem to flow through genetics and generational expression. It's just that it's not personal. There's no person that's actually, you know, the holder of that karma. Karma is just doing what it's doing as action, energetic expression, energetic action and movement in this. And that might flow down through generations or some form of rebirth, you know. So everything's being reborn all the time. Every cell is being reborn. It's all right now. Everyone's being reborn. You know, just not as separate cells. There's energetic life expression just being reborn instantaneously, constantly, but always in this present moment. So that's the karma of the actions that of this body seem to happen, but the rebirth is constant. And the continuation is always doing what it's doing as well. There's just no person involved, no personal entity. There's just life. And also the experience of the story of being separate I, which is just, if that's experienced like a play, like a playful expression in life, it's quite amazing. There's experience of the same thing. The flow of life experiencing itself, including everything that's happening here. And of course, as a human being, it has a perspective point. There are senses, but it's also open. It's also open. Every sound and sensation, perception is open. If it's not coming from and completely identified as the separate self doing and experiencing that separately, it's open. It's part of it. There's nothing, and that can't really be comprehended by the mind because it doesn't work that way. It needs to, you know, the human being just summarizes. It's the brain, I think, uses 20% of our energy or something all the time. If the brain was actually comprehending everything as it really was, it might use so much fuel that it's just untenable. So the human brain just goes, see that, seen that before, there's a pattern, recognize that, summarize, move on, and go and do something else. And part of that is the assumption of being an I that's doing it all. And I already know what that is. And everything comes from that. So I know why it does that. That'll keep me safe, even keep me psychologically secure and safe, which makes me feel good as a separate I. I want to be alive. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be insecure. I don't want to, be left in the cold. I don't want to be eaten by an animal. I don't want to starve. And the thought process that's part of that instinct says, and I, that's somewhere in my thoughts that I made up in thought, also have to survive. And I don't really want to look into this because it's too threatening. And actually, it might undermine my very existence. But where is that anyway? I don't care. I don't want to know about it. And it's like a lot of people that are into the spiritual stories and chapters and various things, which is all just life doing that. Nothing wrong with that either. And if that leads to those lives exploring and winding their way and finding their own, its experience of itself, it's fine. So yeah, some people don't care about it and just live their lives and whatever, noisy, go ahead. And then there's some people start exploring spiritually, and then of course in that can just be another identity that is created and reinforced and really structured, and that is almost as contracted as the first, just a different variety of it. And this is like going, I have no idea, and it's unknowable. It's life doing it all, even the expressions of being an independent feeling of being I. That play is just being experienced. So playful. It's so creative and unknowable and surprising,